Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We're in the middle of the story of the Bedouin and the Caliph. So far, Mawlana has told us that during the time of a generous, bountiful Caliph, there lived this Bedouin and his wife who lived in poverty. And because they lived in poverty, the wife was always unhappy and she would always complain to her husband. Why is it that others are happy, others have the means to live a comfortable life, but we don't have anything? And she constantly complained to her husband. And the husband would say, al-Faqr fakhri, poverty is my pride. Why are you not happy with what you have? And there was this back and forth arguments between the husband and the wife, until the husband said, my path is the path of poverty, your path is the path of covetousness and wanting more and more. So we can't agree. So in this case, let us separate. I go my way, you go your way. And as soon as the woman heard that, she changed her approach. As Mawlana said, Zan dar amad az tariq nisti. She chose the path of self-annihilation. So she apologized to her husband. She said, I was wrong. Now I submit to your decree. If I want wealth, if I wanted all of these things, I don't want them for me. I want them for you. I want them because I love you. I love us. So she changed her approach. And as soon as she changed her approach, he also changed his approach. And he said, so that's a section where which we read last time. The husband said, I submit to your decree. I obey whatever you say. And Mawlana gave us also an explanation of what this story is about. So he told us that in this story, the woman represents the nafs, and the husband represents the aql, or the intellect. And when the nafs is in opposition to the aql, there is that conflict. There is that conflict between the what we call nafs al-ammara, ammara bisu, and the intellect. But when the nafs is what you call the nafs radiya mardiya, the nafs that's pleased with the decree of the Lord, then there is no opposition. There is reconciliation and there is peace. So last time, the section we read, so the man says, I have ceased to oppose. I submit to your decree. If you want to kill me, throw the sword from your sheath and kill me. I'm happy with that. Whatever you tell me, I will obey. And I will not consider whether it's good or bad. I will just submit to your decree. And the wife said, are you truthful? Is this what you really mean? Or is this some sort of trick? And the man said, Wallahi alamu sirr al-khafi, by God who knows all these hidden secrets. And by God who created Adam 3 cubits long, and in that body, he entrusted Adam with all the knowledge, with all the wisdom, all his names. He taught Adam all the names, such that angels were beside themselves. Angels were bewildered by all the knowledge that Sayyidina Adam had. And Mawlana used this as an opportunity, right? Used this swearing of the husband by Adam. Mawlana used it as a segue to tell us about al-insan al-kamil, right? Tell us about the man of God. So as the Hadith Qudsi says, I don't fit in the heavens and the earth, but I fit in the heart of my servant, in the heart of the believer. So if you seek me in those pure hearts. And Mawlana said, that's my paradise. If you want to enter my paradise, you need to enter my servants, enter the hearts of my believing servants. And so the angels had this intimacy with Adam, as Mawlana said. So they would say, Dar zamin budi muqafil az zamin. We used to be in earth, but we were heedless of the treasures of earth, of the treasures that were buried there. And chun safar farmud ma ra zan maqam talq shud ma ra az an tahwil kam. And when we journeyed from that place, we experienced a kind of bitterness. Our palates were soured by the change. And we were arguing among themselves, who is going to come who is superior to us? Who is going to come in our stead? نور این تسبیح و این تحلیل را می فروشی بهر قال و قیل را. This splendor of our praise, we're praising you, Ya Allah. We're praising you day and night. Are you going to replace us with someone else who's... So now, Allah Ta'ala says, boldly, plainly tell me what you think, how you feel, without fear. هرچه آید بر زبانتان بی حذر همچو طفلان یگانه با پدر. Without fear, tell me whatever comes on your tongues. Like an only child with the father has no fear. Because although your words may be inadequate or may not be true, but my mercy exceeds, my mercy is prior to my wrath. And it's because of my mercy that I've put this into you, that you can object to me, right? صد پدر صد مادر اندر حلم ما هر نفس زاید در افتد در فنا. My mercy is such that 100 fathers and mothers, so all the love that a mother has for her child, all the love that a father has for her child, 100 mothers, 100 fathers, my mercy, my love is more than that. حلم ایشان کف بحر حلم ماست. My mercy is like an ocean. My compassion is like an ocean. And the compassion of all those fathers and mothers, it's just like the foam of my ocean of mercy. So foams come and go, but the ocean stays. خود چه گویم پیش آن در این صدف نیست الا کف 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 کف. All these shells, all these outer layers, they're just like the foam of the foam of the foam of the foam of my ocean. So the husband says, by Allah, by that ocean, that pure sea, I swear, there is no imtihan, there is no trial. What I say is out of love, it's out of sincerity, out of humbleness. گر به پیشت امتحان است این هوس امتحان را امتحان کن یک نفس. And if it seems like a trial to you, okay, give this trial a trial, right? Put this trial to the test. امتحان را امتحان کن. Hey, یک نفس. سر مپوشان, don't hide your secret, and then I will not hide. Let's be honest with each other. امر کن تو هر چه بر وی قادرم. Whatever I'm able to do, tell me, I will do. Whatever you tell me, if I'm able to do it, I will do. دل مپوشان تا پدید آید دلم تا قبول آرم هر آنچه قابلم. So don't hide your heart. Tell me whatever is in your heart, and I will do whatever I'm capable of doing. چون کنم در دست من چه چاره است? And what other choice do I have? What remedy is in my power? This is the situation we're in, so I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do what I can to better this situation. Any thoughts, reflections on the last week's passage? Okay, so let's start a new section. Kenza, if you don't mind, and if you're not too tired.
No, fine. Okay. So this is how the wife specified to her husband the way to earn daily bread and how he accepted. The wife said, "A son has shone forth, a world has received light from him, the vicar of the merciful, the caliph of the creator. Through him the city of Baghdad is as the season of spring. If you gain access to that king, you will become a king. How long will you go after every misfortune? Companionship with the fortunate is like the elixir. Indeed, how is an elixir like their looks? The eye of Ahmed was cast upon an Abu Bakr. He, by a single act of faith, became a Siddiq." Said the husband, "How should I go to meet the king? How should I go to him without a pretext? I must have some reference or device. Is any handicraft right without tools?" Sorry. As the famous Majnun, when he heard from someone that Layla was a little unwell, cried, "Ah, how shall I go without a pretext? And if I fail to visit her when she is ill, how shall I be? Would that I were a skilled physician, I would have gone on foot to Layla first of all." God said to us, "Say, come ye, in order to signify to us the vanquishing our feeling of shame. If bats had sight and means, pardon. If bats had sight and means, they would fly about and enjoy themselves by day, the wife said. When the gracious king goes into the field, the essence of every lack of means becomes a means. Because the means is pretension and self-existence, the matter lies in lack of means and non-existence. How, said he, should I do business without means unless I make it manifest that I have no means? Therefore, I must have proof of my lack of means, that I may pity me. Produce some proof besides talk and show, so that the beauteous king may take pity. For the testimony that consisted of talk and show was invalidated before that supreme judge. He requires truth as witness to his state, so that his light shall shine forth without any words of his.
So the wife said, گفت زن یک آفتابی تافته است. A sun is shining brightly. عالمی زو روشنایی یافته است. And a whole world is receiving light from this sun. نایب Rahman, the representative of the most compassionate, the representative of Allah Ta'ala, Rahman, خلیفه کردگار, the Khalifa of Allah. شهر بغداد است از وی چون بهار. And the whole Baghdad is like a spring from his grace and from his glory and beauty. So here the whole world is Baghdad. And, گفت زن یک آفتابی تافته است. So the آفتاب, the sun, can be either Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sirajan Munira, as the Quran says, a bright lamp for the whole world. So it illuminates the whole world. Or indeed Allah Ta'ala. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. God is the light of the heavens and the earth. So the whole world has received light from this Ar-Rahman, right? So گر بپیوندی بدان شه شوی. If you join this king, you yourself will become a king. You yourself will become a sultan, right? سوی هر ادبار تا کی می روی. So idbar is to go back, right? So why do you go towards people who are moving backwards? Why do you go towards people who are unfortunate because they're not progressing, they're going backwards? Go and join the sultans, go and join the kings. And from the grace of those kings, you'll become a king. همنشینی مقبلان چون کیمیاست. Because the companionship of those who are muqbil, they're the fortunate ones. They have iqbal. If you sit with those people, if you associate with those people, it's like alchemy. It's like an elixir. Just like alchemy, the copper turns into gold. Your existence will become like gold if you associate with those people. چون نظرشان کیمیایی خود کجاست. So that's the power of companionship that Mawlana talks about again and again and again. And others in this, in the Sufi tradition and the Persian literature, they always talk about companionship, how important companionship is. There is this story in Sa'di Shirazi, in Golestan, in the introduction to the Golestan. So he says, I was in a bathhouse, and back then they had something called Gele Sarshur, or Gele Sarshui. And it's still there. It's still sold in Iran and used in Iran, but more traditional markets. So Gele Sarshur is kind of, they would use it like a shampoo, right? It's a type of clay. It's a type of clay, but they would use it as shampoo and conditioner. So, and there are poems that says, گل سرشوی از آن معنی که پاک است به سر بر می‌کنندش گرچه خاک است. This clay, because it's pure, they would put it on their head, even though it's clay, it's soil. So Sa'di Shirazi says, گلی خوشبوی در حمام روزی رسید از دست محبوبی به دستم. A beloved person, someone gave me this clay, right? Gave me this clay, and it was so fragrant. It was so fragrant. It had this pleasant smell. بدو گفتم که مشکی یا عبیری که از بوی دلاویز تو مستم. And I said to this clay, are you musk? Are you, what are you? Why are you so pleasant? Why do you have this pleasant smell, pleasant fragrance that's intoxicating me? And then the clay responds, right? It's poetry, so they can have a conversation with everything. So the clay responds and says, I'm not musk, right? I'm not ambergris, right? I'm not musk, I'm not any of those. I'm just soil, I'm just clay. گفتم من گلی ناچیز بودم. I'm clay that's nothing. ولی که مدتی با گل نشستم. But I kept the companionship of a rose. Right? A rose grew in my soul and I served that rose and I kept the companionship of that rose. کمال همنشین در من اثر کرد. And the perfection, the beauty of that companion affected me, affected my state. But otherwise, I'm just soil. Otherwise, I'm just dust. So yeah, that's what Mawlana is saying here. He's saying, همنشینی مقبلان چون کیمیاست. If you keep the companionship of these fortunate people, it's like alchemy. And it will transform you. It will turn your copper into gold. Just like it did to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. چشم احمد بر ابو بکری زده او ز یک تصدیق صدیق آمده. Because of one tasdiq. So when the pagans told Abu Bakr, you know what Muhammad is saying? He's saying he went to Jerusalem in one night and came back. How is that possible? It's a month journey. And Abu Bakr Siddiq says, if Muhammad said that, he's right. He's telling the truth. So, and he says something that's more extraordinary. He says, messages come to me from heaven, angels come to me. And I believe that. That's more extraordinary than going to Jerusalem and coming back. So from one tasdeeq, from one act of faith, he became a Siddiq, right? Because of that companionship. So Mawlana is again telling us about the power of companionship, the power of being close to the people of Allah, to Ahlullah. Yes, Kanza.
Yeah, it's. I think it's Imam Ghazali who, in I don't remember which volume about companionship. Anyway, about social relation, he talks about that a friend is like a perfume seller. So that if you keep a good friends, well, it's either a perfume seller or somebody who picks up garbage. So it depends on the quality of your friends, and then you pick up the scent of your friend.
Exactly.
So you should be friends with the perfume seller.
Exactly.
He uses that image. So it just reminded me of that.
Exactly. And it's impossible, to be close to perfume and not get the scent, or, close to garbage and not be affected.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, Goft, yes, Ali.
I was also reminded of this classical saying from the Prophet, right? Show me your friends and I will tell you who you are.
Who you are, yes.
And I think that it's sometimes perhaps it's also like ego and arrogance, because I mean, at least for me personally, sometimes I think that, okay, if I talk with these people and I associate with these people who are not like me, then I will not be affected because I'm strong enough to not be affected. But that's just a lie that I'm telling myself. It's just Iblis playing on my ego and putting me in an unnecessary test. Because even if I'm not affected, let's say per hypothesis, for instance, then still I'm hearing things that are not good for my soul, and instead I could spend it with people that are who are better, who are a nourishment for the human soul in some sense, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people who can elevate us. Yeah, elevate us spiritually. Yeah. Okay, so the man says, "Goft man shahra pazira chun shavam." But how can I go and meet the king? What are you talking about? I'm just a nobody. I'm just a Bedouin. How can I go and be bahane suye o man chun ravam? How can I go to the king's palace without any pretext? Nisbati bayad mara ya hilati. I need a connection. I need a kinship, relationship, reference. Ya hilati, or a device. Hich pishe rast should be alati. Can you do any handicraft without tools? You need some basics, right? همچون مجنون که بشنید از یکی که مرض آمد به لیلا اندکی. Just like the famous Majnun, right? The famous Majnun, Qais ibn al-Mulawwah, who was in love with this girl called Layla. که بشنید از یکی, he heard from someone که مرض آمد به لیلا اندکی, that Layla is a little bit unwell. What did he say? He said, گفت آوه, that's the pain, the sigh. بی بهانه چون روم. How can I go to Layla without any pretext? How can I go there? They wouldn't let me, right? Her family wouldn't let me close to her. ور بمانم از عیادت چون شوم. And if I don't go, how can I deal with myself? How can I deal with that pain of not going? لیتنی کنت طبیبا حاذقا. I wish I was a physician. I wish I was a doctor. And that would be a pretext for me to go to the Layla. كنت أمشي نحو ليلى سابقا. And I would go to Layla before anyone else. But I'm not a physician. I don't have a pretext. I don't have any good excuse to be there, close to Layla. And this is a paraphrase of a poem by Majnun, right? By Majnun Layla, Qais ibn al-Mulawwah. يقولون ليلى بالعراق مريضة أيا ليتني كنت الطبيب المداوية. They say that Layla is sick in Iraq. I wish I was a physician. I wish I was a physician and I could go there. قل تعالی گفت حق ما را بدان تا بود شرمشکنی ما را نشان. And that's why Allah Ta'ala is telling us, come in the Quran. Come to me. Come to me. Because otherwise we'll be too embarrassed to go. Who are we to go to Allah? As they say, مال التراب ورب الأرباب. We're dust, we're turab. And He's the Lord of the Lords. Who are we to go there? But Allah Ta'ala says, come, don't be ashamed. Come to me, right? And that's the whole message of Mawlana, biya, whoever you are, right? Believer, non-believer, come to me, come to Allah. So in a sense, this is the woman's response. He says, don't think about that. Allah Ta'ala says, go. The son says, come to me, whoever you are, don't be ashamed, come to me. But then he says, but if bats, شب پران را گر نظر والت بودی روزشان جولان و خوش حالت. Just like as bats, right? If bats had sight, they would go during the day and enjoy themselves. But they can't go because they're bats. Now the woman says, گفت چون شاه کرم میدان رود عین هر بی آلتی آلت شود. When the king goes into the field, goes into the Maidan. So, in normal times, the king is in his palace. The king is in his palace, and it's so hard to access the king because there's so many layers you have to pass to get to the king. So back in the day, and also today, right? If you want to see the king of Morocco, right? It's not as easy, right? So, but sometimes the king comes, visits a school, so comes to the field, and then it would be possible for the average person to meet the king. So, yeah, Mawlana says, when the king comes to the field, that is when the king shines onto your heart. Allah Ta'ala shines into your heart. That's the king coming to you instead of you going to the king. That's when the ray of Allah shines into the heart. The ray from that sun shines into the heart. Then, then you don't need tools. You don't need devices. Your device is not having a device. Your device is bi'alati, lack of means. That becomes your means. Zanke alat da'vi است و هستی است. Because means is existence, is pretension. Ar dar bi'alati و pasti است. What matters is not having anything, is fana, is faqr. As Mawlana Shams Tabrizi, he says, people take their lives to Allah. It's like zira be Kerman burdan. It's like taking cumin to Kerman. Kerman is the source of all cumin. Where are you taking your life to Allah? Where are you taking your knowledge to Allah? Allah is the source of all knowledge. Where are you taking your existence to Allah? Allah has more, infinitely more. He doesn't need any of that. Because His existence, you should take non-existence. You should take fana. You should take faqr. That's what He doesn't have. He doesn't have need. He doesn't have niyaz. So take need to Allah. کار در بی‌آلتی و پستی است. The matter lies in lack of means and non-existence. And then the husband says, گفت کی بی‌آلتی سودا کنم. And then how can I bring that faqr itself? I need to make that real in myself. I need to realize that in myself. از گواهی بایدم بر مفلسی. I need a witness to my poverty. A witness to my faqr. تا شهم رحمی کند یا مونسی. And then the king will pity me. I need a witness other than just talking, other than just conversations. I need something real. این گواهی که ز گفت و رنگ بود. These testimonies that are just talk and just show, that king doesn't accept. The king looks into the heart. He looks into the realities, not into what you say, but how you are. صدق می‌خواهد. He wants sincerity. He wants truthfulness. گواه حال او. He wants the true state. تا بتابد نور او بیقال او. And then his light will shine. Right? If you take words, you will receive words. But if you take the light, if you take the state, it's the light of Allah that will shine on your heart. تا بتابد نور او بیقال او. So I need to take that sincerity. I need to go with that sincerity. I need to go with that sidq.
Thank you for explaining it so beautifully. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Zara.
How does that relate to the verse about meeting Allah with a sound heart? So if we say Allah has no need for anything, so we take nothing to him because he has everything. That's a beautiful way of thinking about it.
Exactly. So in that verse, Allah Ta'ala says, I don't need money. I don't need your money. Right? I don't need your children. No one is safe unless someone who comes to Allah with a sound heart, a heart that's purified. We have time to read another section. What do you think? Shall we read another? Let's. It's not that long, so let's read another section, inshallah. Rafat, would you like to read, if you don't mind?
So is that where the wife said, or how
the wife
Arab
said?
Carried? Okay.
Yep.
How the Arab carried a jug of rainwater. Okay. How the Arab carried a jug of rainwater from the midst of the desert as a gift to the commander of the faithful at Baghdad, in the belief that in that town also there was a scarcity of water. The wife said, when people with all their might rise up entirely purged of self-existence, that is veracity. We have the rainwater in the jug. It is your property and capital and means. Take this jug for water and depart. Make it a gift and go into the presence of the King of Kings. Say, we have no means except this. In the desert, there is nothing better than this water. If his treasury is full of gold and jewels, he does not get water like this. It is rare. What is that jug? Our confined body. Within it is the briny water of our senses. O Lord, accept this jar and jug of mine by the grace of God has purchased from the believers their lives and wealth in return for paradise. إن الله اشترى من المؤمنين أنفسهم. A jug with 5 spouts, the 5 senses, keep this water pure from every filth, that there may be from this jug a passage to the sea, and that my jug may assume the nature of the sea, so that when you carry it as a gift to the king may find it pure and be its purchaser. After that, its water will become without end. 100 wells will be filled from my jug. Stop up its spouts and keep it filled from the jar. God said, close your eyes to vain desire. His beard was full of wind. Who has such a gift as this? This truly is worthy of a king like him. The wife did not know that in that place, on the thoroughfare, there is the great stream, sweet as sugar, flowing like a sea through the city, full of boats and fishing nets. Go to the Sultan, and behold this pomp and state. Behold the senses of those for whom God has prepared gardens beneath which the rivers flow. Our senses and perceptions, such as they are a single drop in those rivers.
So yeah, the previous section, the husband asked, okay, show me a means. How should I go to the Sultan? Give me a pretext. And گفت زن صدقان بود که از بود خویش پاک برخیزی تو از مجهود خویش. True sincerity is when you let go of your own existence, as بود خویش. Now, her plan is, we have some rainwater in the jug, and this is our capital. And it's, they're living in the desert, right? So water is the most precious thing they have, right? So take this jug of water to the king. هدیه ساز و پیش شاهنشاه شو. Go and take this as a gift to the king of kings. And tell him, ما را غیر این اسباب نیست. We have nothing except this. در مفازه هیچ به زین آب نیست. In the desert, there's no water better than this. Now, she thinks this sultan has lots of jewels, lots of treasures, but water is something that he might not have. این چنین آبش نباشد. This is rare. چیست آن کوزه؟ تن محصور ما. What is the jug? It's our body. It's our senses. Briny water of our senses. So Allah Ta'ala doesn't need any of that. But because of his bounty, he accepts. He says, yes, bring that to me. I buy that. إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُم. Their lives and their wealth. Allah Ta'ala doesn't need that, but purchases to give us something more, to give us himself and give us paradise, give us the beauty of being close to him. ای خداوندین خم و کوزه مرا در پذیر از فضل الله اشترا. Because of the bounty of Allah purchases you. Allah purchases your souls and possessions. So accept my jar, which is nothing. کوزه با 5 لوله 5 حس. And the 5 senses are like the five spouts or 5 pipes. پاک دارین آب را از هر نجس. And purify this water from, because this is going to be gifted to the Sultan, right? It's going to be gifted to Allah Ta'ala. So the gift has to be pure. So keep it pure from defilements, from najis, something that's defiled. And when you do that, when you purify your senses, purify yourself, then it's a jar, it's limited, but it gets connected to the sea. It gets connected to the ocean. As Mawlana says, متصل چون شد دلت با آن عدن. When your heart is connected to that ocean, هین بگو محراس از خالی شدن. Just say and say on. Don't be afraid of being emptied, because you're connected now. So he says, this jar, it's limited, but it has the potential to be connected to that ocean. بگیرد کوزه من خوی بحر. And then this jug will have the nature of the sea. It will have the nature of that ocean. تا چو هدیه پیش سلطانش بری پاک بیند باشد از شه مشتری. And when the king sees that this jug is pure, he will buy it, he will purchase it. بی نهایت گردد آبش بعد از آن. And then the water will become infinite, will become without end. پر شود از کوزه من 100 جهان. 100 worlds will be quenched, will be filled with that water. لوله ها بربند. So stop up the spouts. Don't let this water inside the jar to be defiled. خردارش ز خم, and fill it, and don't let the outside things from outside to enter this heart. گفت قزو. So this is from the Qur'an, right? So tell the believing men to turn away, like to restrain their eyes from lustful gazes. And the way Mawlana interprets that is from anything other than Allah. Tell believers to turn away from Masa Allah, from all desires other than Allah. Risha u porbad. And his, again, it's funny because Nicholson has translated it literally, right? His beard was full of wind. So he was so proud. So in Persian, if you say beard was full of wind, or mustache was full of wind, it means he was so proud and sure of himself. So he was so proud that what gift is this, right? What sort of what a great gift I'm taking. This is worthy of that king. And they didn't know. This couple didn't know that the Khalifa lives in Baghdad, right? That's just right next to Dijla, right? That's the great stream, sweet as sugar. در میان شهر چون دریا روان پر ز کشتی‌ها و شست ماهیان. There is a sea, there is a river, there are boats, there are fishing nets. They didn't know. They lived in the desert. They had no idea. رو بر سلطان و کار و بار بین. Go to the sultan and see for yourself. See جنات تجری من تحتها الانهار. That's those rivers are flowing there. Gardens beneath which rivers flow. So we're in that desert. Our senses, our perceptions, they're just like a drop in that in those rivers. قطره‌ای باشد در آن نهر صفا. Everything we've got is just like a drop in that ocean. But yeah, they didn't know. They didn't know. So they're taking this jar of briny water, which they think is rare, which they think is awesome. They're taking it to the Khalifa. So yeah, inshallah, we'll complete the rest of the story next week. Any thoughts, reflections?
What is the thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Your interpretation is really, really good. Well, how do you interpret the briny water as a metaphor for what? Are we talking about our sins, our brokenness, our incompleteness?
Exactly.
Is that how you interpret it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not sweet water, right? So the sweetness is the pure water that has no defilement. But the water in a jar, it's going to be briny.
So what's the reason for saying don't close all the spouts, don't let more in, close their eyes to accept the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So what's the reason? Is there not a need for us to empty the and replace it with something good before we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Am I?
So I think what Mawlana means there is keep it pure, right? Keep it pure. And Imam al-Ghazali has a similar analogy. So he says your heart is like a pond, and then there are 5 streams. The 5 senses are like the 5 streams. And so long as there's streams coming into your heart, water from the streams is entering your heart, water from within doesn't have the opportunity to gush forth, right? So if you want the water from within, if you want the ma al-ghayb, right, to rise, you need to block those senses. Yeah, that's not listening to everything, not seeing everything, restraining your senses. Yes, Kansa.
Yeah, just a small remark. It is rainwater. So it is rahma mil alameen.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Ultimately, it comes from there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the question is, if it's rainwater, how would it be briny?
How would it be briny?
Why? Yeah, how come it's briny?
Maybe it's because of staying in that jar for so long. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's it's just I believe if I put things together, it's when we talk about rain and water and going into the jar and back to the river, we're talking about a cycle, and that cycle which is always present. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So whatever comes pure from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like rain, it goes into us. We, with our impurities, make it impure.
Yeah.
But when it has to go, for it to be pure again, it has to go back to the source, which is like the river, and once it connects with the river, it loses its impurities and it becomes one with that pure source. And probably eventually it goes evaporated again and goes back to back to be rain. And this is, the cycle that continues. But for it to be clean and to go back to be one, and then to go back and becomes pure again, it has to be connected to the source.
To the source, totally.
Yeah. And I think it also has a jurisdictional, because, Mawlana was also a faqih, And so that fiqh also connects here, because they call al-qalil, that is impure. Once you cannot use it for wudu, for example, because it's impure and it's a small an amount. Once it's connected to a bigger amount, a bigger source of water that is pure, it itself becomes pure, and you can use it for wudu. So it has a cleansing capacity. Not only becomes clean, but it becomes
purifying.
Yes, purifying. That's just like probably the metaphor brings in.
Yes, and that's a great point, and that's what Mawlana is saying here, right? Mawlana is saying once it's connected to the ocean, it loses its, it becomes infinite. It becomes one with the ocean. So the next section is when again puts a seal on it, like the woman puts a seal on it, and then the man takes it all the way to the Khalifa in Baghdad. And yes, so inshallah we'll read that next week.
And I believe also the Khalifa is also a metaphor for something, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all like everything is metaphorical here. The Khalifa himself, the river, the jar, and they need to seal the jar, because sealing the jar with the impurities means you have, as you mentioned, it has to be this. It has to be, to stop the external factors from coming in. And that is probably the source of impurity, and that is tawbah, I believe. It's you stop, you close that door, from becoming more, from adding impurities. You take that, because if it's open to impurities, still, even if you put it in somewhere, with greater nature, the pure nature, that it will not be pure again. And but this Khalifa, if we can look into it more, that will be great, actually, because I don't know what exactly it refers to, at least now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So far, Mawlana has told us about this Khalifa, that he's bountiful, right? He's bountiful, and he's like a sun. He's like a sun shining and illuminating the whole world and everyone, right? So Mawlana says everyone, Greeks, Persians, Arabs, Turks, Zoroastrians, believers, non-believers, they come to him and no one goes back empty-handed, right? So he's the symbol of the karam and the bounty and generosity of Allah Ta'ala. Okay, so inshallah, may our briny water be connected to the ocean and become sweet.